really most of what it's about is high-level intelligence operatives explaining what they know and
extremely
what they've been
high
told.
level.
Yes.
People like Woolsey and James Clapper, like these guys who are like DNI level, like overseeing all of the intel agencies, Brennan,
Yes.
you know, all these people, and
Marco
presidents,
Rubio. To his credit, I think his involvement was huge. You know, because it's the current administration, his involvement, and his urgency.
Schumer, Rubio, all those guys are like, look, a bunch of freaking high-level officers came to us, and either they're crazy or the shit's real.
Most of these people at some point, or maybe even currently, have held very high clearances and high positions within our government.
So this is one of the things that Dan and I talked about. He firmly believes that both the United States and China has retrieved these crashed vehicles, and that they are also in this back engineering program. They're in a back engineering program of their own, and there is a race. And he, you know, people talk about it like it's the Manhattan Project on steroids, but I've heard that about AI too, right? But which might also be true, and they might also be connected in some way. I think what Rubio is concerned with is that China develops this technology first. And the only way that the United States is really going to catch up is if we open this up. And we open it up and remove all the ridicule, because forever, look, I'm a silly person, so it's easy to make fun of me. And I don't mind. I mean, literally professional comedian. So I'll say stupid shit and not worry. Like, oh, people are going to think you're an idiot. I'm like, I'll tell you I'm an idiot. You don't have to like look to see if I'm an idiot.
I think you're much smarter than you give yourself credit for.
Listen, I know really smart people. It's relative.
Yeah,
it's all relative.
You got that, like, that general breadth of knowledge. Like, not too many people are at your level, man. Like,
yeah, but it's also, you know what it's like? It's like people say like, oh man, you must be an amazing fighter. I'm like, listen, I work for the UFC. I'm around dudes who can kill me every single day I work there. Every one of them can kill me, no questions asked. Like, compared to a regular person, but to an untrained person, that's how I look at intelligence. It's like, I'm not as dumb as the dumbest people I know, but I know Elon's a friend of mine. You know what I mean? I'm friends with a lot of like very brilliant people. There's levels to this thing, you know. Like I had Palmer Luckey on the podcast the other day. Yeah, you start talking to him, you go, "Oh, okay." Well, there's levels to this, you know. And there's really fucking smart people in this world, and I'm not one of them. But I'm smart enough to know what I know, and I'm smart enough to not be afraid of people thinking that I'm not smart. So the subject has always been like very ridiculed and you could like really fumble your career if you went out and said, if you were a journalist or if you were like a legitimate author or like look at Whitley Strieber. I don't know what happened to that dude. But I know that everybody like sort of dismisses him as a kook in the real literature world because he's this guy who made these movies and books about being abducted by aliens. What? You know what I mean? So you immediately get this like smell of kook that's on you. And I think Marco Rubio talking about this and explaining like, this is what I've been told. This is what I know. This is a real thing. There are vehicles the size of a football field that are moving through the ocean at 500 knots. We have no idea where they're going. You know, Tim Burchett recently said that they've identified 5 areas in the oceans of the world where these things are coming out of on a regular basis.
We have a higher propensity of sightings around these 5 or 6, I believe, deep water areas.
So you've got these people talking about this, and it's slowly but surely removing that layer of ridicule. And that layer of ridicule is powerful, man. People don't like to be thought of as a fool, you know, and I think that holds us back. And if the United States, like, if first of all, they're going to need some sort of an amnesty thing. This is one of the things that we talked about. They're going to need, because for sure there was lying to Congress. For sure there's misappropriation of funds and probably some corruption. Like when you have no oversight, billions, if not $1 trillion, like for sure somebody got some money they shouldn't have got. You're going to have to make all that okay. You're going to have to say, in the interest of national security and the future of the human race, fuck all that. You're going to have to do that. And if they don't do that, we're going to have a real problem because these gatekeepers are going to continue to gatekeep because their lives depend on this.
Yeah.
If they release this, they could find themselves in jail without any amnesty, in jail for the rest of their lives. Like, we don't know how much money was spent. We don't know how much lying to Congress there was. We have no idea how many felonies there were. We don't have no idea. Let's assume that crash retrieval programs were real and that back engineering programs were successful. So you're not going to give this stuff evenly to all these different defense contractors. So if you give one defense contractor one object and all of a sudden they have this massive advantage and then the other defense contractor winds up going under, as many of them have gone out of business, well, now you have a major lawsuit on your hands. You have all sorts of, and then probably people are going to go to jail if it's a just legal system.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for, I think, the cynics out there who might just want to put a minus sign against anybody coming from the intelligence world and saying things, we're not even necessarily being idealistic about their motivations. We're just saying that it's probably national security runs the day, and that it might be the Manhattan Project 2.0. If you think about it, the first Manhattan Project was payload potency. It was bigger and bigger bombs. And there's even a scene in Oppenheimer where he's criticizing Teller because he's like, there is no target big enough for the H-bomb's way too big. And so beyond that, it's all about payload delivery. It's all about the ICBMs into stealth fighters, into whatever the hell they're working with now. And if they do have this technology, obviously they're going to open it up. And as much as I can be cynical, and anybody who's into UFOs is probably cynical about the intel world, it kind of makes sense that they'd let this stuff out now, because there is this arms race or whatever.
There's a race going on with both. Let's assume that stories are correct and that back engineering is real. Let's assume that they have recovered crafts. So there is a race with that. But then maybe even more critically and completely connected is the AI race, because I feel like that is the legitimate gateway to the cosmos. I feel like when we achieve sentience with artificial general superintelligence, when it has the ability to make better versions of itself, when it has the ability to devise new methods of power, new ways of using resources that we never even imagined, just like we have now that they never imagined in the 1400s, And I think it's going to happen very, very quickly. So if there is a back engineering program, and maybe there's some hurdles that we just can't get over, like how did they do this? Like, how is it possible to do that? Well, AI is probably going to figure out a possible way that it could be done and what possible inventions could be made to facilitate this possible thing. And they'll probably just go ahead and start doing it. And when you have AI and then you have the incomprehensible power of quantum computing, which is so baffling. It's so baffling that you go, wait a minute, what the fuck did you just say? One of the more recent ones, I believe it's the Google one. They solved an equation that would take the world's supercomputers, I think it was 2.6 billion years to solve, and it solved it in a matter of minutes.
It's so crazy. And then the Willow chip, they say the multiverse has to exist or whatever for it.
Like, what does that mean? The only way for it to solve this problem, Mark Andreessen said it on my podcast. He said, the equation is so difficult to solve that if you took every atom in the universe and converted it to a supercomputer, the universe would die of heat death before it would solve this equation, and it solved it in minutes. So, like, what are we even talking about? Now imagine that being connected to artificial general superintelligence, which is essentially a digital god. You're going to make this thing that makes a better version of this thing. It's going to be exponential. It's going to happen very rapidly. Well, what's the end of that? What's the end of that is all powerful, all knowing. And if you really want to get weird, that might be how God gets formed. I mean, that literally, like, God might be a real thing. That might be how God gets formed. And that might be the whole reason why human beings have curiosity and this insatiable desire for technological innovation. I mean, not just to stay alive, not just to make better stuff, but this is why, because that if you just follow it out to its natural course, that's going to lead to an artificial life.
Yeah, I've heard you say that a lot before, that like our consumptive patterns are almost built in to want more and more and more, and then we have to produce more and more in step, and we're like creating this God outside of ourselves.
Like, think about materialism. It's foolishness. You have a finite lifespan, and you have people in their 80s, like, trying to acquire immense wealth when they already have immense wealth. Like Warren Buffett's still in the game. You know what I mean? Like, he's worth billions of dollars. He's in his 80s, and he's still out there trading and moving. Like, what is that about? Why would you want more stuff? Why would you want more money and more stuff? Because nothing fuels technological innovation like the market. And in order for the market to be successful, you have to be obsessed. Like, I have the iPhone 16, and this motherfucker is starting to mess up on me because the 17's out. The battery's a lot slower. It's like it burns through the battery quicker. Sometimes it glitches on me. I'm like, dude, you didn't glitch for a whole year, bitch. It's like it's wired in that you want the newest one, you want the latest one, and Apple's been accused of that.
Planned obsolescence.
Yeah, and it's true. They've admitted to it, and they've done it under the guise of, oh well, you know, when the older ones, the batteries decay, we're trying to preserve the battery. Like, shut up.